Hello everyone, welcome to the KZGN News. Today we'll bring you news of an attack with a deadly weapon, news of yet another terror attack targeting Christians, news that the RNC is pulling a fast one to give Cruz a victory in Louisiana even though Trump won the election, today's gas prices, weather, sports, and much more.
From the Rademacher Hills to Bee Mountain and the mighty Sierras, Ridgecrest to Inyokern and China Lake, this is your news for the Indian Wells Valley with the KZGN News Crew.
Hello, I'm Tom Whitnick. Thanks for joining us for the news affecting Ridgecrest and the Indian Wells Valley. From the Ridgecrest Police Department, we get this report. Sunday morning at about 11 a.m., officers from the Ridgecrest Police Department received a report of a man hit with a machete. The investigation revealed that William Rice, age 54, who lives in the 200 block of West Robertson Avenue, was upset over a loose dog bothering his dogs. Rice went to a residence in the 300 block of West Robertson and attempted to confront the residents there, Arthur Herrera and his girlfriend Brandy Oney. However, they were asleep. After Herrera and Oney woke up, they went to Rice's residence to speak with Rice, and an argument started. During the argument, Rice struck Herrera under the chin with a large machete, causing an approximately 3-inch long laceration. Herrera was treated by emergency medical personnel at the scene and decided he would seek his own medical aid. Officers arrested Rice and recovered the machete, which he hid in a neighbor's shed. It was found that Herrera and Oney's dog was not the dog Rice said was bothering his dogs. Rice was transported to Kern County Sheriff's Central Receiving Facility in Bakersfield, where he was booked and held. The bail is unknown at this time. Well, how's the war on terror coming? A suicide bomber killed at least 65 people, mostly women and children, at a park in Lahore, Pakistan on Sunday in an attack claimed by a Pakistani Taliban faction which said it had targeted Christians. More than 300 other people were wounded. Officials said the explosion occurred in the parking area of a park close to children's swings. The park is a popular site for members of Lahore's Christian community, many of whom had gone there to celebrate the Easter weekend holiday. Witnesses said they saw body parts strewn across the parking lot once the dust had settled after the blast. When the blast occurred, the flames were so high they reached above the trees, and I saw bodies flying in the air, said Hassan Imran, 30, a resident who had gone to the park for a walk. Officials said 65 people were killed and about 300 wounded. Police said most of the casualties were women and children. The Taliban faction, Jamal al-Ahrar, claimed responsibility for the attack. The target was Christians, a spokesman for the faction said. We want to send this message to Prime Minister Sharif that we have entered Lahore. He can do what he wants, but he won't be able to stop us. Our suicide bombers will continue these attacks. Islamist militants in Pakistan have attacked Christians and other religion minorities often over the past decade. Many Christians accuse the government of doing little to protect them, saying politicians are quick to offer condolences after the attack, but slow to take any concrete steps to improve security. TV footage showed children and women standing in pools of blood outside the park, crying and screaming as rescue workers, officials, police, and bystanders carried injured people to ambulances and private cars. Dozens of women and children were wheeled into hospitals, covered in blood. Many of the injured were transported to hospitals in taxis and auto rickshaws due to a shortage of ambulances. Hundreds of citizens arrived outside hospitals to donate blood. Local television channels reported that many of the dead bodies were being kept in hospital wards as morgues were overcrowded. In an update on the status of ISIS strength in Syria, we found these statistics. CIA Director John Brennan confessed last year that ISIS under Obama has grown by as much as 4,400%. Under former President George Bush, the CIA revealed that ISIS had been all but decimated to roughly 700 fighters. But under Obama's presidency, ISIS grew to anywhere from 21,000 to over 31,000 fighters concentrated in Iraq and Syria. As far as White House reaction to the attack in Pakistan, and as far as news time today, President Obama had failed to issue a statement on the bombing, leaving the job instead to a spokesman for the National Security Council. They said, this cowardly act in what has long been a scenic and placid park has killed dozens of innocent civilians and left scores injured. National Security Council spokesperson Ned Price said in a statement, "We send our deepest condolences to the loved ones of those killed, just as our thoughts and prayers are with the many injured in the explosion." The White House statement did not mention the religious motivation behind the bombing. Obama refuses to describe terrorism as Islamist and seeks to minimize or ignore the religious motivations behind the Islamist attacks. In election news, the Democrats had 3 states electing their candidate last Saturday. The states were Washington, Hawaii, and Alaska. Bernie Sanders walked away the big winner. Bernie stumped Hillary with landslide wins. In Alaska, Bernie got 82% of the vote to Hillary's 18%. That is a huge margin. In Washington state, Bernie got 73% of the vote to Hillary's 27%. In Hawaii, Bernie got 70% of the vote to Hillary's 30%. The delegate count now has gotten a little closer. After these 3 states, the delegate count is now Hillary still leading with 1,243 and Bernie with 975 delegates. This does not include the superdelegates, though. This is a much closer race than the Republicans, which has Trump leading that race. Trump has 739 delegates to Cruz's 465, and Kasich at 143 delegates. Pundits expected Sanders to win these more white states with smaller black and Latino populations. But the margins show Hillary's weakness with young millennial voters. Even women are supporting Bernie over Hillary. The next election for both parties will be next Tuesday, April 5th in Wisconsin. There will be 96 delegates available for the Democrats and 42 for the Republicans. It is also an open winner-take-all primary. The next big one after that will be April 19th. This will be a battle for New York. There are 291 delegates there for the Democrats and 95 for the Republicans. The New York delegates are distributed proportionally. So we get a week break from the elections, but I doubt the turmoil won't subside much on the Republican side. And the pollsters will have a busy week trying to get up to date moving towards next Tuesday's election in Wisconsin. There are no more debates scheduled for the near future, but there is a town hall for Republicans Tuesday evening on CNN. In other Republican news, Trump is getting ready to sue the RNC. In an election that may be just barely won, or a candidate might come up just a few delegates short of the minimum required, there is a battle for every delegate. Republican presidential frontrunner Donald Trump captured victory in Louisiana by a narrow 3.6 percentage points over Texas Senator Ted Cruz during the state's March 5th primary. Trump got 41.4% to Cruz's 37.8%. But despite victory in the state, Trump is set to lose 10 delegates to Cruz, and Trump is preparing a lawsuit over it. With the GOP race in chaos, establishment figures have been frantically looking for any way to derail Trump. Perhaps at a contested convention if no candidate can get enough delegates to lock up the nomination in advance. Party leaders, including 2012 nominee Mitt Romney and 2008 nominee Senator John McCain, are fearful a Trump victory would lead to a disastrous November election, with losses up and down the GOP ticket. Now, according to the Wall Street Journal, at least in Louisiana, the GOP seems to have found a way to beat Trump, even without victory in the polls. Despite the support of many establishment officials, Florida Senator Marco Rubio came up short in Louisiana, getting 11.8% of the vote, and was only awarded 5 pledged delegates. He has since dropped out of the race. According to the Wall Street Journal, the delegates Rubio won in the Bayou State, as well as 5 unassigned delegates, are going to go to Cruz. If that happens, it would give Cruz more delegates than Trump, even after Trump won by 3.6%. Right now the delegates awarded are even for Trump and Cruz at 18 each, and Rubio with 5. First of all, why do Trump and Cruz have the same? Trump won by 3.6%. So one would think he would at least have 1 more delegate than Cruz. But now, the RNC is deciding to give Cruz Rubio's 5 delegates and the 5 unassigned delegates. That would result in 18 delegates for Trump and 28 delegates for Cruz. And Cruz didn't even win the race. Just more dirty politics by the RNC. Now stay with us. After the break, we'll have some more campaign news. Thanks for staying with us. Well, the latest in campaign news is some interesting news came out for an online polling group called League of Power. Their poll results were as follows. Do you think Donald Trump is qualified to be the next president of the United States? 83.8% of the people voted yes. That was 180,000 people. No were 16%. The second question, how would you rate Donald Trump's chances of winning the Republican nomination? The very likely votes was 58.8%, 146,000 people. Somewhat likely was 31.8%, or another 73,000 people. And a somewhat unlikely, 6.5%, and no chance of winning the nomination at all, 2.7%. The third question they asked was, do you agree with Donald Trump's policy on immigration? Almost 78%, or 173,000 people, said yes. The no's, where I do not support his immigration policy, was only 5.4%, or 13,000 people. And then the I agree with parts of his immigration policy, but do not fully support it, was 16%. The fourth question they asked was, which candidate would you like to see win the Republican nomination for president? Donald Trump won with 61.5%, or 139,000 votes. Ted Cruz had 17.7% with 42,000 votes, and John Kasich got 1%. The fifth question they asked is, which Republican candidate do you think has the best chance of beating Hillary Clinton in the general election? Donald Trump was rated at 66% with 153,000 votes. Ted Cruz had 13%, and Kasich had just under 1%. Only 2.4% said there isn't a Republican candidate who can take down Hillary Clinton. So that is an interesting poll in that it contradicts everything the supposed establishment has been saying about the Trump campaign. Remember, that poll included over 220,000 responses. Unlike many pollsters that phone survey 1,000 or 1,500 people, while these lower number of pollsters have done significant research to set up their polling people, the number are still very low, and their current process does not factor in people that have no landline phones or only use the internet for information and phones. No cell phones are used either. In news from the Ridgecrest Regional Hospital, they have announced volunteer opportunities at the hospital. Ridgecrest Regional Hospital is looking for energetic volunteers within the community. Their volunteers program offers a unique opportunity to gain valuable hospital workplace experience. So if you're looking for work experience or just wanting to get more involved in our community, the staff at the hospital works closely with you, providing you with the tools you need to volunteer. Right now, they are looking for floor assistants, emergency department and urgent care lobby attendants, and porters. Call 760-499-3900 for more information. The hospital site studies that people that volunteer can improve their own lives by doing so. Volunteers get a sense of satisfaction and purpose that they might not now have. Volunteers are less likely to be depressed and may live longer. So if you want to be part of the win-win situation, volunteer now. Volunteer at Ridgecrest Regional Hospital. Again, call the hospital at 760-499-3900 for more information. And today we get news that Governor Brown is going to propose raising the California minimum wage. An agreement that will raise the state's minimum wage to $15 is expected to be unveiled early this week and already has elicited a divided comments from workers contending the boost could help them keep up with California's high cost of living, while employers voice concern about staying solvent. Governor Jerry Brown and state labor unions have been negotiating over the past week to increase the current $10 minimum wage in increments over the next 6 years. The source said the deal would raise the state minimum wage in phases, first to $10.50 in 2017, followed by another 50-cent raise in 2018, and then $1 increases every year thereafter until it reaches $15 in 2022. Businesses with fewer than 25 employees would be given an extra year to comply with the new standard. Under the negotiated deal, once the $15 target is met, future increases to the statewide minimum wage would be tied to inflation. The deal also reportedly includes an agreement that the governor would be able to suspend a scheduled increase if the economy goes into recession, though the threshold for defining a recession was not immediately clear. If passed, Brown's proposal could fend off two union-backed proposals to increase the minimum wage to $15. One of them qualified for the statewide ballot last week. The governor's deal, first reported Saturday by the Los Angeles Times, caught many people by surprise. but it quickly evoked how prickly the situation is. Many support the idea of paying workers more, while others are concerned about the impact on businesses that can't readily absorb a wage hike. No comments have been put out by the leaders in Sacramento legislature yet, but it is anticipated that Democrats will support the increase. Now some Kern County Supervisor Meeting news. I'm happy to report that KZGN-TV is now broadcasting the Supervisor Meetings live Tuesday mornings at 9 a.m. The supervisors have the desire to increase their transparency, so we here at KZGN are now carrying the meetings. This is the first time people here in the Valley are now able to see the Supervisors Meeting live over the air and on Mediacom cable. So tell your friends and neighbors, even those that don't have satellite TV. Let them know that if they just put up a little outside antenna for their TV, they would then be able to easily switch their TV over to watch KZGN's 3 TV channels when they want to. KZGN-TV Ridgecrest is now carrying the Board of Supervisor Meetings every Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. Now in KZGN's continuous effort to provide news and information you've asked for, here are today's gas prices for Ridgecrest and some surrounding areas. Since my last report on Friday, local prices have held steady. The good news is we still have the lowest prices in all the areas we are monitoring. As of this morning, Ridgecrest is ranging from $2.53 to $2.99, Lancaster from $2.67 to $3.09, the LA Valley area $2.59 to $2.85, and the Bishop area $2.72 to $2.99. We have 4 stations at the $2.53 per gallon figure. Tune in Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays for updates. We at KZGN always suggest you shop locally to support our local economy. Remember, when you pay sales tax out of town, you're helping those cities pave their streets instead of here. Now stay with us for weather and sports when we come back. Thanks for staying with us. Now here's Lane for the weather.
Thank you, Tom. From the National Weather Service, a storm system will bring heavy snowfall to parts of the Rockies and Great Basin today, impacting travel. Further south, this system will bring very strong winds to the desert southwest, making driving difficult and potentially downing trees and power lines. The high winds will increase the wildfire threat, especially in parts of New Mexico and Arizona. Temperatures across the nation. Carolinas at 71, Georgia at 69, Arkansas at 58, Northern Texas at 66, Arizona at 77, and Los Angeles at 59. And for us locally, tonight, partly cloudy with low around 41, west wind 25 to 35 miles per hour with gusts as high as 55. Tuesday, mostly sunny with a high near 63, west wind 5 to 15 miles per hour with gusts as high as 20. Tuesday night, partly cloudy with a low around 39, west wind 5 to 15 miles per hour with gusts as high as 20. Wednesday, mostly sunny with a high near 67, southwest wind 5 to 10 miles per hour. Wednesday night, partly cloudy with a low around 43, northwest wind 5 miles per hour. Thursday, mostly sunny with a high near 72, northwest wind 5 miles per hour. Thursday night, mostly clear with a low around 46, west-northwest wind 10 miles per hour. And Friday, sunny with a high near 77, northwest wind 5 to 10 miles per hour. And that is your forecast for the IWV. Now back to Tom.
Thanks, Lane. And now Tom Hecht has sports.
And a very pleasant Monday early evening to everyone. Let's talk about Saracoso baseball. Over the weekend, the Coyotes dropped their 3rd game in 3 days against San Bernardino. San Bernardino, just a very good hitting team, came up with 17 hits in the game Saturday. They end up winning the game by a score of 18-4. The Coyotes, though, are still in good shape to try to get at least 3rd place. They host College of the Desert this week, who they beat several weeks ago in a single game. They'll play games Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. The Tuesday-Saturday games are here in Ridgecrest. The game on Saturday will be broadcast locally on 12:40 a.m. The games Tuesday and Saturday both on the internet, SaracosoBaseball.com. club. All right, let's talk about the NBA real quick before we talk about college basketball. The Clippers will make the playoffs again this year for the third year straight. They have a 45-27 record. They beat Denver on Sunday night, 105-90. Now the Lakers, who beat Washington the first time this season, lost Sunday night at Staples to the Wizards, 101-88. The Lakers are now 15-58. All right, the best team played the worst team in the NBA on Sunday afternoon. Golden State hosted Philadelphia. Of course, Golden State got the win. They're now 66-7, on track for the best record ever in the NBA. Philadelphia, 9-65. They're a little bit above the worst record, which they actually created back in 1974. All right, Sacramento also gets a win, as does Indiana. All right, the NCAA tournament, March Madness, they call it March Madness for a reason, and it sure is. All right, let's talk about who was expected to kind of be there, and I say kind of be there. Villanova beats Kansas. Well, Kansas was a 1 seed, the team that I thought would win the whole thing. Villanova plays a great last 10 minutes of the game. They defeat Kansas in Louisville. They will now go down to Houston, be part of that Final Four, as will Oklahoma. Oklahoma beat Oregon. Oregon had beaten Duke on Thursday night, so now it'll be Oklahoma against Villanova. That'll be Saturday afternoon, followed by the unthinkable, the Syracuse Orangemen will square off with North Carolina. Now, North Carolina beat Indiana, North Carolina beats Notre Dame, and Syracuse beats Gonzaga. That's not a horrendous surprise, but then Syracuse beats Virginia. That is. They beat Virginia. They were down the whole game. They outscored them 28-7 in the last 9 minutes of the game, and they defeat the Cavaliers, who I thought, after Kansas went down, would win the whole thing. So the Final Four, Villanova and Oklahoma, they'll play first, and then North Carolina and Syracuse, the nightcap on Saturday. The two winners get together a week from tonight in the national championship. Those games will be played at the Toyota Center in Houston, Texas. That's your sports for this Monday. I'm Tom Heck for KZGN.
So that's the news for today. All of us at KZGN-TV know you have a choice in what you watch for your news. We all thank you for choosing KZGN-TV, Ridgecrest's only locally owned community TV station. And remember, join us Tuesday mornings for the Kern County Supervisor Meeting at 9 a.m. Now, stay tuned for Ridgecrest Talk coming up next.